Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. How is everybody? You see Gary. Hello from Melbourne. Russell in there? I don't see Russell. Gabriel, happy Wednesday. How you doing? All right. Hans, good afternoon. How are you, my friend? All right. I'm in a weird, funky mood today, so we're going to, I think we're just going to repair pens. No green smoking jacket. No, Russell. Sorry. No green smoking jackets. Probably not. I don't remember what the price was on the smoking jacket. You know what I ought to ask is my mother once bought my father a burgundy velvet smoking jacket once. He didn't smoke. Well, I mean, when he was a kid, he did, but when we were growing up, he didn't smoke at all. So, or maybe it was. I'm pretty sure it was like burgundy red, maroon, something like that, with the black velvet lapels. I should ask my mom if she still has that. I got a feeling she doesn't. It was probably one of the first things to go. Dad's been gone a long time, so a number of years, so probably doesn't have it anymore. And anyway, but I never took a look at the price on the green smoking jacket. But maybe next time I go. You wish it hadn't been given away in the 80s. Wow. I don't know. That green was. See, now you got me thinking. So, we get a ton of snow. Well, not a ton, but like 6 to 8 inches. We got snow overnight, and it was. You started GoFundMe to get the jacket. Oh man. So anyway, all right. I'm gonna try to. I've just been like head down, doing work all day, getting a ton of things done. I'm sort of getting ready for the pop up. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. I've been frustrated with. I bought some pens, sort of, from somebody in Canada, and is probably the only person on the planet that I've met in the last 15 years who doesn't have a PayPal account, or that can easily get it back to snuff. And so it's been a challenge to try to get payment to this poor lady, who's already shipped the pens, and it's not going well. So I don't know what I'm just all day long. I keep I look, and it tells me, oh, we'll get back to you as soon as we figure it out. Like, I got to upload bank statements that have the name, the account number, the type. Like, come on, people. It really isn't this. It shouldn't be this hard to send money to Canada. So, I doubt she's listening, but if she is, I am sincerely sorry. And let this be a lesson to everybody. If you're doing, especially if it's international, if it's cross country, when you've worked out the terms of the agreement, make sure you know who's getting, how they're getting paid. So far, everything has been, every payment method that I have, she doesn't take, and everything that she takes, I can't seem to get to work. So it's. If you like me to try to send the payment, let me know. I may what I may do. That's a very generous offer. I may take you up on that just for the shipping portion of it, because she had to put out a considerable sum of money to ship this large box to me. and I just feel bad. So, but I'll let you know. I did see in my bank there is a pending transaction through Wise, um, but I don't know if that was there yesterday or not. So I don't know if that's good news or if it was just there yesterday and they're still reviewing my, making sure I'm not a criminal or terrorist or something. So I don't know. All right, let's get to the bench. Maybe that'll get me out of this funk that I'm in. Because there are two of my pens that I want to fix. I will let you know. Thank you. That's very, very generous. I really appreciate it. Okay. Let's take a look at the bench. So what we're going to do first, I think, is we're going to put together this little Parker here. We're going to see if this held up. Remember we had that section problem yesterday, and then we've got this kind of funky Taperite cologne. We're going to try that and put that back together. And so then we can test these. I've got 2 desk pens in the works. I've got all those snorkel, a 51 vac, and then I've got a bunch of vacs and snorkels and stuff that are all ready to test. So as soon as I get these together, we can just ink up a bunch of stuff and maybe that'll be fun. I don't know. Thankfully, there has been no snow. Since early this morning, so at least when I get home, well, who knows? I could barely get out of the garage, so I do have to worry about that. But that's not too bad. It's cutting into my cycling time. It's always fun when you're streaming. Yeah, thank you. All right, this actually this is let's take a look at this here. This really you can kind of see the dip here. You can see where the break was. It actually has held up pretty well, so I'm Caleb, how you doing? I'm behind on the chat that's going on over there on YouTube, so forgive me. Big snowflakes here when you looked at the window a few minutes ago. Yeah. Yeah, I went and I did the we have a huge sidewalk that goes down to the mailbox, and I know from last year that the post office gets a little bit picky when they can't get to the mailbox. So I did, you got to have like 4 feet in front and 4 feet after the mailboxes to allow room for the truck. So I was out there doing that last night. And then this morning at 6, one of the neighbors is out there with the snowblower doing it. So it certainly was easier because I kind of chewed it away last night, but bet that last few decades. I bet, I'm willing to bet, because I didn't see it, that the fact that we've got a incorrect but usable pressure bar, that it was there the last time. This pen has been repaired before. So I'm willing to bet that that's kind of the case. I'm just looking at the threads in here. I have not. There's a thread guide that I really need to get. That would make this job a whole lot easier, but I haven't gotten around to getting it. And I forgot to bring my book in. See if we could match up this pen. Although it doesn't really fit into the. It's too early for the duofold book. But I do have it on good authority that the new Parker book is going to be under my Christmas tree come the 25th. Hey, Glenn. Hello at cardinalpens.com. Yeah, you can get me there. I remember unscrewing this thinking that the threads were really gritty. And it looks like there's some shellac in there. Yeah, there's really only there's Lisa and I and my daughter. So there's not really a chance that an email is going to get missed. I pretty much do most of the email correspondence. Hard to believe it's been a year already. Yeah. Speaking of emails, thank you so much for your quick response to your email and putting together your order. I don't think it was all that quick. I mean, it was the Osmoroid nibs, right? Was that your question, if I recall correctly? I didn't quite get to. I didn't go. It was a little bit more involved, so I didn't. I didn't get to it yesterday or the day before, whenever it came in. But it was one of those things. I saw the little indicator that I had one. Well, actually, I had two emails that I needed to get to. Yours was one of them. I was like, I need that to go away. I need that number that little indicator to be off of my screen. There we go. That's much better. Okay. Now and I'm wondering too. It was very involved. Yeah, I mean, it was lengthy. It was measured in paragraphs. I hope I'm right. Actually, I don't think I missed one question. Now that I think about it, I didn't answer your question regarding what other pens take those nibs. The answer is I'm not 110% sure, but there are some late Venus pens that have that same threading, which is why the Venus nibs technically pre Esterbrook purchase fit in Esterbrook's, because later it became Venus Esterbrook. I bet. I'm thinking. So we've got a cracked nipple, and we've got a hanging pressure bar instead of the traditional pressure bar, which would come all the way down to the nipple. I wonder if the previous repair wasn't done with that in mind. We put in a hanging pressure bar so that there is no pressure down by the nipple. And maybe when it threads in, it's in such a, I mean, you could rotate the bar however you want to rotate it, but I wonder if this wasn't put in with that in mind. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea, isn't it? I mean, if you can't, and I was thinking last night about your idea, Hans, about boring it out and making a sleeve. And I was, shoot, that was the one thing I didn't get done today. I was going to call my friend and finish that conversation with him about the lathe. But I wonder if that's not why that was done. I would put money on that. I don't want to do that repair. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because, well, I mean, the first thing you got to do, you could make the sleeve, you could make the sleeve to the diameter of, the inside diameter of the feet so that it fits that. And then you essentially, you measure the inside diameter of the section. Yeah. And then you turn down that sleeve, and then you probably turn it down a little bit too much, and then apply some adhesive in there probably. Huh? I was thinking about that repair last night. All right, well, let's take a look at this. The chasing on here, or the chasing, the color on here is actually really quite nice. There was some question as to whether or not maybe this was a 16, but this is would be a short 16. Thank you for the Venus suggestion. It hadn't occurred to me. One last question. Does the Esterbrook J have a larger ink capacity than an SJ? Penny you're working on is gorgeous loaded color. Yeah, gold fill. No. The answer is no. The way Esterbrook, and you haven't been on this channel long enough to have seen the month or two of Esterbrooks that I did, like in February and March, or January and February, when all I did was like 10 Esterbrooks at a time. But it's actually, if we think like a businessman and not like a pen collector, I don't think the ones I don't have anything online before like July, so you probably won't be able to see them. You missed days of black dollar pens. It was going there could be more days. There are more. I need to sell some. If I sell some and I run out, then I will get more. But anyway, where was I? So what they did is, at the time, Esterbrook had 3 pens, right? J, LJ, SJ, and a pencil. Esterbrook set it up. They changed. Do I have one lying around here somewhere? No, not incredibly handy. They changed the location. So they did 2 things. They changed the location of the lever box and the positioning the lever such that they could use the exact same, they only manufacture 1 J-bar. To facilitate that, they put spacers in. So in LJs, they had one size. In J's, they had another. SJs, they didn't have a spacer. And then what that does is that That moves the positioning, and it also means that you only need one size sack. So this, despite the fact that the full size J is longer and bigger than an SJ, they both use the same size sack, and the ink capacity is therefore the same. Now, unless you and then in J's, pretty much most J, including even in transitional J's, use that stupid liner that I hate, and I probably got one lying on my bench here somewhere. Do I have one in here? No, I don't have one. But they use a stupid liner, which also assists in positioning the lever. Because if they didn't have a liner, we call it an insulating piece, but if you didn't have it, the J bar wouldn't work so well. They probably would have had to have a different size J bar. So they did all these things to get around having to use more than one size sack. So when they ordered sacks, they only ordered one. Had them cut, stamped with their name, boom, done. Yeah, they made things, they made one size J bar, and that was it. That's all she wrote. Now, before that, of course, there were different sizes, and it does make sense from an industrial economic perspective. It does, absolutely. There are ways around it. However, because the Esterbrook J-bar has that notch in it, which facilitates stopping at the perpendicular, if you want that to work, you have to make sure that you have the spacer in the barrel and that particular J-bar. So, if you're restoring an Esterbrook and you want it original, then you need the spacer in the original style J-bar, right? If your J-bar breaks, here's the best advice I can give you. If it's a J, take out the tray. Sometimes they're easy to get out. Most of the time, they're not so easy to get out. You might have to reach in from the back and then pull it out this way. Sometimes what I do is I'll put a, actually it's this guy here. I'll put this guy in underneath, kind of prop it up, and then I get in with my hemostat so I can actually grab it and pull it out. Pull that out. Pull out what looks like it's an eraser, essentially. And then you put in an aftermarket J-bar, which doesn't have the notch because there's no aftermarket J-bar yet. That fits Esterbrook that has a notch in it. So if you can't make your lever stop at the perpendicular, why are we proceeding with the spacer in the back to position a J-bar that has a notch in it and the tray? Now, you're not going to use a bigger sack. You're still going to use a size 16, but you can put in, instead of the 48 millimeter J-bar, you can put in a 54 as long as you take out the spacers, and then your sack size can be, another inch longer. So, and for sure, if you take out the spacer and your old J-bar breaks, I would highly look into the 54. Because the 54 really, at least on a J or an LJ, it's going to compress the sack a lot better and further along than the 48. So 2 hours later. I am considering manufacturing an original style J-bar. but that's next year maybe. Thanks for sharing the wisdom. Yeah. You know, if we ever get back to doing semester books, and I have them, I just haven't run. I have to do an inventory is what I should do. I haven't run out of any Esther books. I have so many on the website. It would be stupid of me to spend my time repairing black, SJs. You successfully repaired your first touchdown today. Caleb, congratulations. Replace the O-ring, I hope. Touchdowns are fun. You don't have to deal with that fiddly positioning of the snorkel tube. It's not a hard repair. You know, it looks complicated. You think it's complicated, and then you do it, and you're like, well, what was I waiting for? All right. Next thing we know, there's going to be a Caleb Olson repair channel on Twitch. Starting at right after mine. As long as you don't have to chip out a completely solidified O-ring, it's easy. Yeah, I mean that can be the most challenging part. Is having a pick that is sharp enough to get in there, but yet not too sharp that it's going to end up going through the barrel. You were surprised how quickly it went. The hardest part was making sure not to pierce the barrel wall when digging out the O-ring. Yeah. All right. All right. Early touchdowns are way too thin. Is this my pad? And is this the one I'm using? Did I run out of the other one? Okay, let's see how this works. I feel like I ought to be filling this with Quink, but so with Parker, this could be unlike Waterman that had their numbering system was really identified down to the size, the chasing. Well, not necessarily chasing, but the size, the number it reflected on the size. Parker could have a number 16 that was like 3 sizes. So yeah, that works. It does have an aftermarket nib too, actually, now that I pay attention to these things. Yeah, it's a much later nib. It just says Parker pen. Should say Lucky Curve, but It's smooth as all get out. Okay. I think with care, this pen can be used. Not massive capacity, but that'll get you, that'll write you a letter. All right, now this one has no markings whatsoever on it. Other than made in USA. So this one has the writing area, the tipping area created by stamping the metal. You've never seen these. Stamping down on the top. You see that little divot there? To create a divot on the underside. It's really an inexpensive way to do it. But it's kind of a cool chunky pen. Little line variation. Yeah, it's probably it looks like it's worn down a little bit. So actually, I want to. So it might be get some directional. There we go. All right, now for something completely different. I just want to test this nib. Someone gifted you an Arnold pen the other day, even though you're still new to repairs. You don't want to touch it. That pen with the 10-foot pole. Green ink. This is oh, this down here. That is Colorverse. What is that? Hang on. Colorverse Virgo. Usage italic nib. Yeah, yeah. Very, very. Very stiff. Yeah, it's kind of a like a teal. The lever was completely rusted, and you think the section was glued on? There we go. Okay, well that'll work. That'll salvage that pen. It's a whole lot easier than trying to get that nib unit apart. With the little metal collar on it. Through. I think this pen came with a converter in it. Well, it didn't. It is now. Just received a notice that I got some images ready to put up, including that Schaefer combo, in case anybody was interested in that. That should be going up probably tomorrow, tonight or tomorrow. Couple nice vacs, 51, and that white Waterman 100-year pen. All right, these are done. Clients will be happy. Boxes will come off of my desk. All right, now I get to work on my, well, not my stuff. Let's do this. Oh, you know what? I still have. I left this trumpet sit in water overnight. Minerva branded black chase hard rubber pen. Believe Minerva morphed into Olmas. Does anybody know if this is correct? I have no idea. That is a question for some of our Italian experts. Probably should not have left this in there. I didn't want this screw to rust. There we go. It goes in at an angle, so there we go. So just gonna polish this up real quick because then that way when we're done with the pen, we're done with the pen. I got to get more desk sets because I'm down to 20. We sold another one just before the stream here today. Yeah, I know. I did count. We're at 20. But then I got one that I'm putting up in the next couple days. So we'll be back up to 21. And then this one in the snorkel will make 23. I actually had to reorganize my case today because I had so many holes from the last batch of desk sets that sold that it looked kind of wonky. So I was able to move up my Parker ashtray into a more prominent position. It's a great looking display, I tell you. If you're in the area next week, and can stop by for the pop up just to see the desk set display is pretty awesome, I think. And daily plug, Monday through Friday next week, noon to 5. Saturday 10 to 2. Actually, Tuesday will probably be until 6:30. But I'm saying 5 because it's just easier to say Monday through Friday, noon to 5. All right, that's better. I'll wipe this down a little bit first, and then when we're done, we're done. Will the display be in our Christmas card photo? Yeah. I got to get my Christmas cards out, so we got special ones for this year. But I'm not real great about getting that kind of stuff out every year. Although Lisa and I have discussed the Christmas list, Christmas card list. You guys remember the days of the Christmas card list journal, the book, where you could put down if you received a card from somebody that year? It just seemed like a whole lot of work. I think my mom had one. Growing up, you used to get hundreds of them. Wow. How many desk sets live at home? None. Well, that's not true. I don't have them. I've got that really nice Parker base that is similar to that Moire yellow taper pen we just did. It's actually the exact same pen. And then I have a double dipless. I think it's a double. Yeah, it's a double dipless English with a burgundy leather. Looks all right. A burgundy leather covering. That's a project that is been in the works for a long time. Some of those English Diplo sets have a smaller hole on the top, and so only certain pens will fit. Because, you know, there's a couple different variations of dipless pens. Some won't fit at all. a little bit of feedback to it. Better. Just a little bit of a. There we go. Yeah. Why not? That's pretty cool, actually. What I should do, I'm not going to do this. I'm not even going to say this because you guys are just going to egg me on. What the hell? I have that. I still have that one heavy base that's like 3 pounds, and it's got that piece of brass that kind of sweeps in. I should put this pen in that base and keep it. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on there to eliminate the squeak. That base was how can you think twice about it? Do it. Well, that base was an aerometric base, though. There we go. That's better. I mean, if I'm being correct, you know, you know. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if it hasn't sold, it's still mine. I don't know why I'm wasting time with this. I'm going to take this off because this always, I forget about it and it ends up in the bottom of your. I'm going to have to change out my water. I think the breather tube on this was a little short, but. Well, it fills though. A lot of drops. All right. Hey. Put this snorkel together. The rare occasion we actually have the right back protector housing, bushing, and section. Come on. Of course. It's just a smidge off and a smidge too far out. Yeah, looks better. Well, if only had a way to stamp my name on this pen. Because the way it screws on, there's a big, nice spot there. Tool is not always right, and that's agitating. Use a Dremel. There we go. Perfect. All right, I'm gonna. This isn't worth keeping. Maybe there's a way. I'm gonna put a little bit of shellac on there just for safety's sake. Okay. Take this off, clean up this base, and then tomorrow when we test this, it will be ready to go. I clean this out. All right, let's clean it up nice, at least in here. This has it's been sitting in an antique store for too many years, look to it. You're waiting for the water to slop out of the glass? Yeah. Won't be the first time. That's better. Hit the trumpet, and then this guy is good to go. All right, probably could go out and do this forever, so I'm not gonna do that. A little bit shinier. My fingers are dirty, so get warm in here. Okay. Hey. Perfect. And all these will need to have shellac. We didn't even get to that, did we? Did I get the pitting off the brass? Yeah, that came off nice. The marble needs a little work. But it's better. That writes nice. All right. So there's a kind of an extra 5, but it's got some softness to it. Canadian, that's why. Yeah, that works, huh? Green. Is this US? This is US. Yes. 45. Like that nib. That's nice. There's not much left to say other than that. Then you know it's a good nib. All right, moving on. We got a lockdown. No visible date, but we got 39 on the nib. So stripe section, two-tone nib, double stripe jewels. If I was going to collect, this is a standard. This ticks all the boxes. Big. It's got decent barrel transparency. Stripe jewels section, two-tone nib. White's great. I'm gonna step away for a second. I'm gonna switch out my water. It's pretty black. All right, Juicy, have a good night. See you tomorrow. Next time. Whenever. Garden variety black, back major. Nice medium nib on this one. It's otherwise unexciting, but the nib is great. Got a little bit of room left on the bottom of the pad here. This is a perfect pen, then looks like it's a nice fine nib. 44 vac. third quarter. Okay. Spin these out, seal them up, including that 51 desk pen. Now that I think about it, I already spun this out, didn't I? I already sealed it up. I don't think I've used this in a while because last couple of weeks working on my own pens, I don't necessarily ink them up after the fact. Eh, if the section threads are a little stiff, and even after you've cleared out the threads, sometimes the shellac will make it easier to screw back together. Oh, this one we couldn't get apart, so we'll have to shellac that back together. This one was pretty tight, but a nice fresh coat of shellac will go a long way. Off to the gym. All right. Have a good workout. I've had 2 weeks in a row of missing my Monday night ride, which then just means I have more miles to make up the rest of the week. But with all the snow and I was going to try it last night, but we got home and there was so much snow. It just had to be done. All right. Those are good. Vlad, how you doing? You're coming in at the tail end of doing all the writing samples. I think I got to clean these caps, though. Did I got to clean these caps? Anybody remember? Oh, man. We're getting down there. That's all that's left of my original factory thread sealant. do love the smell of thread sealant. Okay. Next up. A couple of Conklins. Clipless models. 2P and a 2NL. This came from a collection, so that sack might actually be good. This could be the shortest repair. And since I'm keeping it, I don't really. As long as everything lines up, we're in good shape. Well, this is a decent sack, but this nib definitely needs to be cleaned. Interestingly enough, both of these have the crescent set to the blank. So if I'm a right-hander, I can't see the name of the. If I'm a left-hander, I can see the the name. Really not much that needs to be done here. For me, I'm going to switch this around. Later on, it's not a big deal because they got something on both sides, but I hate to take this patina off, but there's like some junk on here that needs to go away. It'll patina up nicely. Here's kind of a cute little pocket pen. Standard girth, so it's not slender. Just shorter. Get this muck out of here. These threads look pretty good. Still some old residue on some polish or something in here. There, now it's got the logo on the right. Actually, a little bit bent. Put some green stuff on here. Get that off. Green should only be for vegetables. Do I replate metal parts ever? It's kind of on my to-do list. I actually have a a setup for replating. I don't have it here. I was learning from Bruce Mindrup and John Hall before John passed away. I just never really had what's on there. I never really had the time to figure it out quite right. But I have all the supplies. I've got the nickel preplate. I've got the gold. Given how expensive gold is, I wonder how much that's worth. It's liquid. There we go. Just a little bit of a bend. What do you do to get the schmutz off of the part? Well, the first thing you have to do is you really got to polish it off. And get it down to the base metal. It's very time intensive. You know, and it's electroplating. It's not like the original material. You know, these are all gold filled parts. You really can't do that. There we go. I like it better that way. And then, you know, you have to, if you use the wrong thing to get down to the base metal, then, you know, like if you use semichrome or something like that, then it leaves like a film on it that you've got to get off. Bruce was pretty quick about it. If you've got something that's, you know, essentially prepped, it doesn't take long. It's a matter of getting the right voltage. And all that stuff. I actually stare at it every day, so, you know, one of these days I need to bring it in the office and get it out of my house. For most vintage pens, not sure replating is worth the cost and time to prep. Um, it depends, I guess. Like I say, I've watched Bruce do it, and you get something like a senior dual fold with a raised wedding band on it. They have a high propensity to be highly brassed. And just a little bit of work and it looks so much better, but it also is not something that you can then later on, you can't polish it, or you're going to polish off the plating. I mean, a light wipe down is okay, but you put microgloss or semichrome or something on there, and it's just going to come right off. The back of this feed is kind of green. You can kind of see it there. I'm going to polish that off too. I guess the question you have to ask yourself is, if the pen has that much wear on the cap band, what's the rest of the pen look like? Um, but you can get things like, maybe Todd's with, what do some of those maybe Todd's have? 5, 7 cap bands and barrel bands. And I mean, you're for sure going to get some brassing on some of that stuff. Or, you know, um, another good one is, dual fold clips. I mean, you can take the whole thing off. That ball clip or a Schaefer clip gets all its wear from being put in your pocket and putting a pocket protector and, all that jazz. Replacing a lever box for the more common models seems simpler. Yeah, I've done lever box before. It's not fun. It is not in my. I mean, it's not incredibly difficult. I actually have a tool around here somewhere for bending the tabs on the boxes. But there's a lot that can go wrong on that repair. And the parts are just not. You can find them, but it's not fun. And they come with the not fun price. You send that repair out, yeah. Well, like I said, I've done it once. I got the tool. I mean, I haven't tried it in 10 years, so I might be. I'd like to think I'm older and wiser, but so like I say, this pen came to me recently, and I'm fairly confident in the, except for the nib being kind of dirty and nasty. And considering how often I'm going to use this, the sack looks just fine. And that one actually looks okay, so I'm going to leave that too. Threads though need a little work here. I can see blue ink in the threads. And it's coming out in powder. blue, black. I guess it's kind of black. I'm going to double check these inside of this cap though, because if the threads are that bad there, they're going to be even worse. In here. Yep. I can already see some spots on here where there's a big one right there where they've discolored. So I got to be careful not to get any water on the outside. It's a really decent color, so I don't really want to mess with blackening it because then you got to blacken the whole thing. All right. Those would be two little fun little additions to the collection. I have a 2NL, but I don't have a 2NL, a clipless 2NL, which technically is a different model number. So 2NL C. Still haven't figured it out yet. I haven't had time to sit down and figure that out. I got the general gist of the idea. So, anyway, so did I clean these caps? I'm just going to grab one of these caps here real quick. These Vacuumatic caps. I think I did. Nope. You know what? I'm going to do that tomorrow. I'm going to put that in there. It'll be my reminder to clean those caps. That black one is pretty clean, though. So tomorrow, what do we got tomorrow then? That snorkel desk pen tomorrow. We'll clean those vac caps. Those will be done. Looking over at my tray of stuff over there. I've got some other pens that I've got some other vacs that we can look at. But I'm going to end it a little bit early. I got a couple things I want to do before Lisa gets done at 5. I just got a shipment in of some Girologio. Have a great night, Hans. Thanks. So I got some Girologio and I got some Platinum Preppies and a bunch of vintage stuff I want to start working on. That combo Schaefer is going to go, hopefully be up on the website tonight. So either that or tomorrow afternoon. But anyway, that's it for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it as always. Have a great evening, great morning, great afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Be kind, be well, and we'll catch you tomorrow, all right? Take care, everyone. Bye now.